Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, my beautiful sisters over 70. Girls, listen, I know you're eager to hear how I got here. Well, let me take you on a journey with me. This shouldn't take long, but it'll give you some idea how I got this far. I'd like to say that it was an accident. It may not, at the time, I thought it was an accident. I'm now finding out it really was not an accident at all. But let's see how this goes. I'm getting better at this. I'm still hemming and hawing, and hopefully one day that one of our videos will go smoothly. But hey, this is me. I can be articulate in certain environments, but when talking about my life, I get a little thrown off because it's something that I usually don't even talk about. I'm really good about talking about other activities and other subjects, but when it comes to me, something I don't um, really think about too much. Anyway, enough of that. So, honey, let me put it to you this way. When they say age is just a number, actually, for some, it probably matters to them. They get a little nervous when they see when those numbers begin to change. But for me, it's never been anything that I thought about. And I don't know if this is the time I'm supposed to say subscribe, leave a message, whether it's a question or comment. But if it is, we'll find out at the end of this video. I'm new at this, don't know what I'm doing. Could use as much input as possible. I don't get put off when if somebody says, "Nah, you should have went left when you went right," and all that. Help me, and the more that you can help me to do better, the more information I can give you that's clear and concise. Okay. Well, I first started traveling abroad, well, on my own. The first time that I went out of the country, my ex husband was in the military. We spent 3 years in Madrid, Spain at Torrejon Air Force Base. But that has nothing to do with this. My travel, basically, for me, to Africa began when I was in seminary, and I went to Cameroon, fell in love with it, and began over the years going back and forth, and started a import export business. And when I moved with my company to New York, I my accountant became really interested in doing business there. So we decided to set up a uh, on-site, take a look to see what we could find and make it work to our advantage. And the even though he was not married, he had a girlfriend. So when we got together and we planned everything out, I said to him, listen, I need to talk to your partner. I need to meet her so that she knows who you're going to be taking these 2 weeks on this business trip with. And as a woman, I felt as though it was very important. I said, why don't you invite her to go with us? It's no big deal. And he said, okay, 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 okay. Then he says, nah, and he's from St. Lucia, from the island. So I knew island women don't play that. They want to know where their men are and what they're doing with not only what they're doing, but who they're doing it with. And this went on for a couple of months, and I kept asking him. And I said, invite her, or I can, I lived in Parsippany, New Jersey, and they lived in New York. So I said, look, I work in New York every day. I will, extend my day so that maybe we can have lunch or dinner together. Well, it kept falling through, falling through, falling through. About 6 weeks out, he still had not brought me his passport so we could get the visas. And he kept saying, oh, she doesn't want to go and she's not interested. She has no problems. 3 days before we were to leave, needless to say, I was in a panic because I hadn't gotten my visa. I was waiting for him. So he just tells me that he cannot go, that he's not going. That, you know, bothered me greatly. I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? All this money is spent for the tickets and, our hotel reservations and all of this. So I ended up the morning of my flight, I ended up calling the airline taking care of the ticket. It was our business account, so they allowed me to put, to get a credit for that particular ticket. And I called the embassy. They told me they would give me a visa because I had traveled to Cameroon before, but I had to fly from New York to Washington, D.C., have them do it there, and then come back. The appointment was the morning of the flight of the day that I was supposed to take the flight. So I go into to DC, get a taxi. I'm frantic. I get there, explain it to them. Thank God the person I had talked to on the phone came and got me. I went through the process, got everything done. Had about an hour before the flight back to DC for me to go to JFK for my flight out to California. I'm sorry, to Cameroon, and got it all taken care of. Needless to say, by the time I got to JFK, I was flustered, but I finally calmed down. And I kept thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But I had made contacts while I had, gone to Cameroon many years before. So I did land. I didn't know what I was going to do for 14 days in this country by myself, but it turned out to be flawless. I was a little, I had some angst because I'd never gone that far before by myself. But I began to think about many times that I wanted to go to the movies and I didn't have anybody to go with. And I went. How many times did I go to lunch or to dinner or to a huge banquet or some other activity? And nobody wanted to go with me, or nobody was available, or I just didn't want to ask anybody. I still went. So for me, it was like my way of talking myself into not being in a panic for this entire 2 weeks was to say, listen, you've done other things before and you can do it now. It was important for me to do this business trip. Everything went well. I returned. I was fine. And I made up my mind from then on. I could go on mission trips. I could go on business trips anywhere I wanted to go. And I was able to do it and do it in a way that made not only a difference in those lives that I came in contact with, but it gave me the confidence that I needed to know if I can think it, I could do it. I never took into consideration my age. Some years ago, I joined a group called Exodus Summit. All of these black women who all are traveling all over the world. They're exiting the U.S. Some permanently, some do it temporarily, but all of them are doing what they want to do in a manner in which enriches their lives. And they had the summit. I participated in it, and I believe it was 2022, and got some more insight. I found out that I wasn't the only black woman that travels solo. I'm not the only one that has various interests. And surprisingly, there's other women my age, maybe not exactly in their 70s, but women over 45, 50, 60, that are doing their thing. How dare we allow our age to hold us back? How dare we allow people who don't want to reach out, who do not want to see the world, who do not want to live a different lifestyle, who do not uh, consider having a life unlike they usually have. And this probably makes no sense, but what I'm trying to say is be adventurous. If you want to go someplace, go. If you want to do something, do it. If you have to do it by yourself and never done it before, start out small. Go to go to a movie. Go to a matinee. It doesn't have to be at night. Take yourself to lunch. Uh, have go to if you want to go to a nightclub. You don't have to do a lot of things. Go early. Have yourself a cocktail. Have yourself a meal. Dress yourself up, honey, and date yourself. Do that. If you know some other women that feel the same way, invite them to come along. If they don't, fine. Some years ago, I was talking to my daughter about Steve Harvey's sea and I think it was called Sun and Sea or Sea and Sand activity that he was doing at the time. I don't know if he's still doing it or not. And it was all inclusive in Punta Cana. And my daughter and I were looking at it, and I kept saying, I sure would like to go on one of those, but I don't want to spend that kind of money. My daughter says, if I asked you to pay for it, or if one of the rest of us wanted to do it, would you? And I said, yeah. She says, why can't you do it for yourself? And I was already in my 70s, so it wasn't a big deal about the age. And I thought, she's right. I spent that money. I left Mobile, Alabama, went to, I think, oh my God, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Went to New Orleans, took a flight to Punta Cana. It went through Panama. Went there that it was on a Labor Day weekend, so it was that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Had a blast. We went cruising. We went by bus sightseeing. We had different entertainers every week. We had um, there were comedians, there were life coaches, there were um, singers. It was all kinds of stuff we did. There was a special cocktail that they made for the group. Each day we had a different one, something new for that day. The waiters would line up like with a path, and we would just walk down. And it was great. And had I had the fear of traveling alone, it never would have happened. I met some great people. I had a good time. And I brought my single self back home with a smile on my face. So ladies know whether you're going from one state to the other, one country to another. Yeah, 10, 15 hours on a flight can be a bit much. But is 15 hours out of your life more of a concern than it is to getting to your dream destination? Okay, I've driven across country by myself, and it certainly has taken more than 15 hours. I didn't turn around and go back. I've driven 18 hours from Mobile, Alabama, or El Paso, Texas to Pennsylvania. So, what do you want to do, girls? We can do this, okay? Not only can we do it, we should do it. Don't let the fact that nobody wants to go with you, because what you're going to find out is once you make that move and go along and they find out you did, first thing they want to know, girl, how did it go? Well, what happened with that? Did you? And when they find out that you added value to your life, and they find out that you were safe, and they're asking you all these questions, just tell them to do it themselves. I bet you the next time you ask them to go someplace, they'll be trying to hop on that bus, on that plane, on that train, in that car. And when you plan and when you dream, leave the age out of the equation. Girls, listen. We have experience that a lot of these generations will never have. Never. Not even our children's generation. They'll never have it. We were built for this. We're sturdy. We don't crack. We don't break. We may bend a little bit. We may bruise a little bit. We may get scraped up. But we are survivors. So don't let fear turn you around. Get out there and do this thing. I'm now living in Ghana. I'm in the north of the western region of the country. I am comfortable. I am well. I am happy. I am at peace. I am safe. And I have people around me that concern themselves about my well-being. So, honey, let's show these folk we can do this thing. If you don't have a passport, get you a passport. If you don't want to come to Ghana, I don't know why not. But if you don't want to come to Ghana, find someplace. Go online. Go on to cheap tickets. Go on to, what is it? Ooh, I can't remember all the sites. But go on to cheap tickets and other sites, and find a place that's close by. Yeah, you can go to Mexico. You can go to all these other places close by, but be adventurous. I've been to Kenya, I've been to Rwanda, been to Liberia, I've been to Ghana, been to Nigeria, Cameroon, and hopefully I didn't leave anything out. But I plan on going to a lot more countries. And will I be going alone? Will somebody be going with me? I do not know. But I do know if I find that ticket, I'm ready to go when nobody else is. I'm out. And the other thing is, with our age, the wisdom that God has allowed us to gather over these years. If you don't feel safe or comfortable in a place, leave or don't go to that place. Do your due diligence. I can only tell you about the experiences that I've had in Africa, and I've never had a negative experience like the many that I can tell you about home. It's still my home. I'll always be an American. I'll always love the country, but I've gotten to the point where sometimes, whether family, friend, or foe, sometimes you got to leave folk that don't love you back. Now, with that said, I pray you have a great day. I look forward to your comments, and we are gonna keep moving forward. And let me know if you want to talk about some other things. How I do what I do, I can give you a preview of the things, how I plan, what I do to ensure my safety when I go to various places, what I eat, how I eat, and what I may not want to eat. Okay? All right, girls. Listen, this has been wonderful. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. Thank you for considering what I had to say. And yep, I'm 79 years old, and I pray that I got at least what I asked for 30 more. So we'll see what Daddy says. You know, if I'm a good girl and understand that His mercy and grace and His favor only comes from Him, you know what? He just might do. Not only will He give it to me, but I will be healthy, I will be secure, and I'll continue to be surrounded by love and His mercy. Okay? Listen, take care. And we're gonna try to get better on these videos. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I think a little more practice might make it more sensible, okay? So, you know, if I'm hemming and hawing and everything, get on here and hem and haw with me, honey. This is what we're about to do. We're not trying to be bougie. We're not making a presentation. We're being real. We're giving it as it comes. And we all have our flaws. But you know what? We are still here. I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Smooches, take care. See